recently announced significant changes to Class 1 driver training and licensing by introducing a new Made in Alberta learning pathway for commercial drivers. This change includes the introduction of a farm-restricted Class 1 driver's license that commenced on April 1. It is crucial to ensure clarity and understanding among our farming communities on these new changes. Can the Minister of Transportation and Economic Corridors provide more details on how the new farm-restricted Class 1 driver's license will relieve pressures on Alberta farm families?
Honourable the Minister of Transportation and Economic Corridors.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank the member from Athabasca Barrhead Westlock for his advocacy for farmers. But, Mr. Speaker, working with him and so many United Conservative members, we did create a new learning pathways to help train and license Class 1 truck drivers in Alberta, Mr. Speaker. Now, this new pathway will ensure that the right training at the right time with the right vehicle is actually happening here in the province, and we will ensure that Alberta truckers are the best trained in the country, Mr. Speaker. And we also understand the unique realities of our farmers, Mr. Speaker, and that's why we are exempting farmers and their family members from any type of pre-licensing requirement to help alleviate the trucking pressures in that industry.
The honourable member for Athabasca Barrhead Westlock.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given the exemptions provided by the new farm-restricted Class 1 driver's license for eligible farmers and their immediate family members, including their exemption from the mandatory entry-level training MELT program, and given that this government is committed to ensuring the safety of our roads, can the same minister explain the steps this government has taken to ensure that these exemptions to MELT do not compromise the safety of our roads?
The Honourable Minister of Transportation.
Mr. Speaker, driving is a privilege unless perhaps you're the member from Edmonton-Whitemud who's been relegated to Nenshie's driver. But the new farm Class 1 driver's license will allow farmers and their families to operate a Class 1 license, Mr. Speaker, only within Alberta and only for farm authorized purposes. Now, this new driver's license, Mr. Speaker, will alleviate pressures on Alberta farm families by exempting them from pre-licensing requirements. And, Mr. Speaker, the traffic safety is a top priority for the Department of Transportation and Economic Corridors, and that is why we've limited this restriction only to farmers and their families.
Point of order is noted at 2:24. The honourable member.
Given that Alberta's agricultural sector plays a crucial role in the province's economy, and given that the farm-restricted Class 1 driver's license for eligible farmers and their immediate family members will be greatly beneficial to our farming communities, and further, given that these changes aim to help address concerns around trucking shortages impacting farms and ranches, can the Minister of Agriculture and Irrigation explain how these changes will benefit Alberta farmers, help to mitigate the concerns about trucking shortages, and positively contribute to our agricultural sector?
Good question.
The Honourable the Minister of Agriculture and Irrigation.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the member for these great questions. Now, Mr. Speaker, farming is challenging at the best of times, and transportation is just one of the many hurdles that Alberta farmers and ranchers face. Now, providing Alberta farm families with a new Class 1 license designation will help alleviate financial pressures, time constraints, and ultimately reduce trucking shortages. This is a huge step forward in ensuring a healthy agricultural supply chain that feeds families here and across the globe. Mr. Speaker, this Premier, this government recognizes the vital role farmers play in growing our province, and we will continue to support them.